Hello and welcome to another podcast episode of Belongs to the Shadows. I'm your creepy host, Jaime Bennett. The last time on the last podcast episode, I talked about Marie Laveau and the legend of Marie Laveau and the history of Marie Laveau. So it's only natural that I want to talk about on this episode the current voodoo queen. Yes, there is a current voodoo queen in New Orleans. And her name is KALINDAH Laveau. And of course, she does come from the lineage of Marie Laveau. I'm also going to be talking about Papa Legba. If you're going to talk about voodoo history, you need to talk about Papa Legba. As always, viewer listener discretion is strongly advised. Please like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps this channel out, and it helps me to keep bringing you these episodes every single week. You can listen to a new podcast episode every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, right here. Right here is where it's at. As always, if you have not been here before, I talk about haunted history, anything creepy, spooky, supernatural, unexplained, weird, all that good stuff. And if you have an idea for a podcast episode, something that you would like me to research, please comment. Comment away. I'm always looking for new ideas, of course. So without further ado, let's dive into the current voodoo queen in New Orleans. Like I said, her name is KALINDAH Marie Laveau, and she is a native Afro-Creole New Orleanian. That's a tongue twister. I'm infamous for mispronouncing things, so if I mispronounce anything in this episode, I severely apologize. But it's organic for me to read this to you and do all of that while I'm recording this episode. You're learning about it as I'm learning about it. Now, I have to admit, I did cheat a little bit this time, and I did kind of go over the material this time. But I'm so intrigued by voodoo history that I needed to know. I needed to read ahead. So I cheated a little bit in this episode. My apologies. Anyways, like I said, she is a New Orleans resident. New Orleans, however you want to pronounce it. Resident. She is a voodoo queen and founder of the Sisters of the Holy Family. She is known for her voodoo, folkloric, and Mardi Gras Indian performances. She has also appeared in American Horror Story Coven and the HBO series Trim. Laveau incorporates storytelling, dance, song, and folk art into her performances. She is also an accomplished singer who honors her ancestors and spiritual lineage through her music, particularly spirituals, call and response songs, and traditional jazz standards. I'm a former jazz musician, so I love New Orleans. It's one of my favorite places that I have ever visited. I love it there. I love the culture there. I love the smells that drift into the streets from the restaurants and the spice shops. I love New Orleans. I love it so much. It's been a long time since I've been in New Orleans, though. I did mission work in New Orleans with my university, and we stayed in a Catholic monastery while I was there. And I swear up and down that the Jesus statue that was located in the front hall of where we were staying moved. Like, he would be in one position when we'd leave and then be in a totally different position when we got back. And no, before you say anything, I was not drinking and I was not under the influence of any kind. Supernatural stuff happens in New Orleans that can't be explained. It's probably why I love going to New Orleans. I am fascinated by haunted history, and New Orleans is definitely rich in haunted history. Let me tell you. Anyhow, without further ado, let's carry on with Kalindah Laveau. I hope that you enjoy these episodes. I really enjoy doing them. And next time I'm going to be talking about Cleopatra. So there is a sneak peek into the next episode. I want to talk about Cleopatra and the Egyptian culture because there's definitely a lot of supernatural stuff that goes on in the Egyptian culture. I mean, you have mummies. So let's carry on with Marie Laveau's ancestor, Kalindah Laveau. And her middle name is actually Kalindah Marie Laveau. I just think that's so interesting. Not only am I going to be talking about Kalindah Laveau on this episode, if you're going to talk about voodoo culture and voodoo history, you need to talk about Papa Legba as well, because he was a prominent figure and is still a prominent figure in Haitian voodoo. So I will be talking about that topic in the next segment. So stay tuned if you want to hear about Papa Legba. All right. So this article, what I'm about to read you about Kalindah Laveau, comes from the Louisiana State Museums. And it doesn't tell you who wrote the article. I always like to give credit where credit is due, but I will link this article in the description so that you all can read it. Anything that I talk about on here, I always try to link it in the description so that you all can explore and research the subject at hand for yourself. But Kalindah Laveau, the reason why I don't have a photo of her is because I didn't want to go against copyright, and I also wanted to be respectful. She has a major social media presence, so I will also link her social media down below so that you all can see what she looks like and see all the amazing things that she does in New Orleans. And you can research more about her because there is so much that I cannot cover. She's multi-talented. So, Louisiana Voodoo. Mystery, Motion, African American Spirituality, and Mardi Gras. So that's the name of the article. Voodoo can also be spelled as Voodoo instead of Voodoo, like we normally see it. And it does derive from the term for deities used by the Fon people of West Africa. It is a religion that believes all things have spirits. And in this religion, humans in the physical world and invisible spirits called orishas, or Iwa in Haiti, guide human and natural lives. The voodoo faithful tend to the spirits with worship and devotion. In their modern form, these practices include communing directly with spirits through dance, as well as trance rites to address a variety of personal and communal needs. As a religious system, voodoo keeps people in harmony with their spirit ancestors and nature. Now, I'm going to stop right here. A lot of times people think that voodoo is evil, but it's because a lot of times, you have voodoo dolls and stuff like that, and a lot of times, like, movies depict it as being pure evil, but they don't show you this side of voodoo very often. And people have the tendency to say something's evil that they don't understand. People are afraid of things that they don't understand. Would I go around and mess with voodoo? No, I would not. I respect it way too much, and I respect things that I don't fully understand. So, with that being said, you need to respect the culture. You need to not pass judgment before you fully understand something. And I hope that today's program helps you to understand the voodoo culture a little bit more and helps you to respect it more. Not saying that you didn't respect it to begin with, but you need to respect it. I've always respected the voodoo culture. I've always respected it. It's something that I do take seriously, and it's something that I will not mess with because I don't understand it. The enslaved in New Orleans were not able to practice their religion openly, but instead they co-opted Catholic holy days and saints' feast days, disguising the service of their own gods, who included Monsieur Dani, known in Haiti as Dambala, and Papa Legba. Why can I not pronounce that? Normally I can pronounce that. Papa Legba. There we go. I don't mean any disrespect. For some reason, I stuttered on that. Goodness gravy. Let's go on. Papa Legba. While practiced in New Orleans in the 19th century among both African Americans and whites. Over time, however, voodoo became a more hidden religion under the disapproving gaze of Protestant churches, as well as law enforcement in the 20th century. Today, however, the voodoo faithful have become more open about their religion, leading to its continued influence in cultural life. It is a very important part of our history. Like, all religions have been an extremely important part of our history. I say, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody or themselves, then who am I to judge? I'm nobody to judge. Everybody has their own belief system, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with believing however we believe, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody. Because voodoo developed as a spiritual system among those least powerful in Louisiana, its origins are not well documented. While some scholars trace it all the way back to traditional religions among the Ufon, Yoruba, and Congo people in Africa, and see evidence of its Louisiana in the late 1700s, others caution against ascribing a direct connection. While the full history of Louisiana voodoo awaits further research, researchers do know that its practice has had a significant influence in spiritual life in New Orleans, where voodoo was regionally distinct until the 1940s, but is now heavily influenced by the voodoo of Haiti, where it remains a prominent religion. That's so interesting, because I'm one of these people that when you hear New Orleans, I do think voodoo. I think voodoo. I think Cajun spices. I think alligators. I think all of those things when I think of New Orleans. But I've actually been to New Orleans, so I guess I kind of have a right to think those things because they do exist. I did go into a couple of occult shops while I was there because I was curious and I wanted to see. I really wanted to see. Voodoo beliefs and rituals are intertwined with Mardi Gras, masking traditions since at least the 1800s. Skeleton or skull and bone gangs have been a part of Black Carnival. Often dressed in black costumes painted with white skeleton bones, the maskers act as both carnival town criers and spiritual guardians. This rouses the community before dawn on Mardi Gras. Their signature warning is, "You next." During such treks, oh goodness. Bruce Sunpie Barnes, big chief of the North Side Skull and Bowl Gang, recognizes Papa Orgon, the god of iron and warfare, and the Haitian voodoo spirit family of Guide, guardians of the cemetery. That's interesting. Yeah, I will definitely have to link this for you so you all can see the photo, because I don't want to go against copyright. Not about that. I'm a photographer myself, and I definitely don't want to go against copyright. So I will definitely link it so you all can see this. I will do my best to insert photos. That makes sense, I suppose. Queen KALINDAH Laveau, a voodoo priestess, brings spirit medicine to Black masking activities. Her Society of the Mystic Seven Sisters continues the traditional healing work of generations of women. They sometimes accompany the Northside Skull and Bone Gang to the tomb of unknown slave at St. Augustine Catholic Church in the Trim neighborhood. As the gang summons as well as embodies the ancestors traversing the streets, the women provide prayers as well as energy for a safe day. The best known historical practitioner of New Orleans voodoo is the legendary Marie Laveau, which I talked about on the last episode, who was a devout Catholic, a devout of African spirituality and voodoo, and was also a community leader. Both Big Chief Alfred Duquette of the Flaming Arrows and Cardell Patterson, flag boy of the Uptown Warriors, have made suits in honor of the esteemed figure. While some maskers honor the voodoo past, others infuse carnival with contemporary voodoo spirituality. The Divine Prince Tai Emeka leads the House of Divine Prince of Voodoo Spiritual Church. He seeks to bring lasting healing to his tribe and community on Mardi Gras as Big Chief of the Black Hawk Voodoo Gang. He makes patches for his suit that resemble Haitian voodoo drapeau, ceremonial hand-sewn sequin flags. Wow, the costume's amazing. If you get a chance, please check out the websites below. You will learn a whole lot more than what I am explaining on this episode. And you could probably pronounce it better than I can. I am not good at pronouncing things. I apologize. All right, KALINDAH Marie Laveau. Let's dive into more of her history. And then we will talk about Papa Legba. Now, like I said, KALINDAH Marie Laveau was in American Horror Story, but they also featured Papa Legba, the story of Papa Legba in American Horror Story Coven as well. Like I said, you can't talk about the Voodoo Queen of New Orleans without talking about Papa Legba. I think it's important to also mention that figure when talking about voodoo history. So this comes from the New Orleans Jazz Museum. She did do a performance there, and there is a video that you can watch. But she's an authentic New Orleans voodoo priestess who comes from a strong lineage of traditional spiritual practices. Kalinda is an accomplished singer, like I mentioned earlier, who honors her ancestors and spiritual lineage through her music. Today, on this particular program, when it happened, she honored those that came from the Middle Passage to New Orleans and Africans who were enslaved throughout the world with spirituals, call and response songs, as well as traditional jazz standards. I think it's it is so interesting that she's keeping the tradition alive. I can respect that. Um, I can respect that she has a strong lineage to Marie Laveau, and she's really, really trying to keep the tradition alive. I respect that so much. Let's see. Sometimes she is seen in the streets. I did read that somewhere. Sometimes she is seen in the streets when she's doing these performances or rituals with her snake. She has a pet snake that she's seen with sometimes. I think that's interesting. So, like I said earlier, New Orleans voodoo queen Kalindah Marie Laveau is a native-born Afro-Creole who can give first-hand accounts of New Orleans tradition and culture from the inside. She does a lot in New Orleans, and she's spread across social media platforms, so you can read about her pretty much anywhere. The infamous voodoo queen Marie Laveau and founder of Sisters of the Holy Family, Henriette Delille, are among her ancestors. Laveau was born into the bloodline tradition of voodoo. She maintains the Laveau legacies of offering readings, blessings, and gris, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, to the community and visitors of the city. The Voodoo Queen can be seen around the city holding community rituals and dancing with her snake in Congo Square on Sundays. Like I said, Laveau also holds the position of Voodoo Queen in the legendary Mardi Gras Indian tribe, Yellow Pocahontas. She has 20 years of experience in performance aspect of the tour industry. Laveau does also do voodoo, folkloric, and Mardi Gras Indian performances using storytelling, dance, song, and folk art as her tools to entertain and educate diverse audiences on voodoo and carnival traditions in New Orleans. She is also a singer who performs around the city and has an album that is entitled Soul Beautiful. Laveau holds a bachelor's degree, a bachelor's of arts degree in jazz studies from the University of New Orleans. Voodoo Queen Kalindah Marie Laveau may be most recognized for dancing in the voodoo ritual scene on the television series American Horror Story Coven, alongside actress Angela Bassett. She has also sung and danced in several episodes of the HBO series called Trim as a Mardi Gras Indian queen. Join her for a unique insider's view of the traditions and cultures that make New Orleans one of the most mysterious cities in the world. And this comes from royaltoursneworleans.com. I will link that below as well. I hope that you've enjoyed hearing about Kalindah Laveau. It's fascinating. I love researching voodoo history. I love researching spiritual history, haunted history, supernatural history. I love history. I absolutely love history. And the voodoo culture is a very important part of our history. So stay tuned for the next segment. I'm going to be talking about Papa Legba. All right, welcome to the second segment of Belongs to the Shadows, where I'm going to be talking about Papa Legba. So I think it's only fair that if I'm going to be talking about voodoo culture and voodoo history, talk about Papa Legba. And like I said before, Papa Legba was featured in American Horror Story. If you have not seen American Horror Story Coven, please do so. Not sponsored by them, by the way. I just absolutely love American Horror Story, and Coven as well as Freak Show are my two favorite series out of that industry. Papa Legba his character is featured in American Horror Story Coven, so please check it out. Viewer discretion is strongly advised, though. You can't let kids watch it. It's definitely not a show for kids. Anyhow, Papa Legba is a prominent figure in Haitian voodoo. He is often described as the first spirit invoked in ceremonies and the Lord of the Roads, as well as God of the Crossroads. He is seen as a bridge between the human and spirit worlds, facilitating communication and acting as a guide. So here are the key aspects of Papa Legba. What's his role in communication, you might ask, or his role as a communicator? He is known as the great communicator. He is able to speak any human language and facilitate communication between humans and other spirits. What's the association with roads and crossroads? His title, Lord of the Roads, reflects his role in opening paths as well as removing obstacles. What's the symbolism? Well, he is often depicted as an older gentleman with a cane smoking a pipe, and sometimes he has a dog with him, representing guidance, wisdom, and a bridge between worlds. Invocation. So he is usually quite frequently invoked at the beginning of voodoo ceremonies to open the way for other spirits to communicate. He is known as a potential trickster. While often seen as a kindly figure, sometimes interpretations do portray him as a trickster. This adds a layer of complexity to his character. And yes, best I remember on American Horror Story Coven, he was a little bit tricky. He was a trickster. In popular culture, Papa Legba has appeared in various forms throughout popular culture, including music, literature, as well as television. There are some cartoon characters that represent or very, very strongly related to Papa Legba. But I can't tell you what franchise it's from or the name of the cartoon character that I am thinking of, because we don't want to go against copyright. All right, this next segment, this next bit of information that I have for you all comes from good old reliable Wikipedia, and you can find it there. Papa Legba is an Iwa or Loa, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing those right, hopefully, in West African voodoo, and its dysphoric derivatives. Dominican Republic voodoo, Dominican Republic voodoo, Haiti voodoo, Louisianan voodoo, and Winti, who serves as the intermediary between God and humanity. He stands at the spiritual crossroads and gives or denies permission to speak with the spirits of Gunai, and is believed to speak all human languages. This is so that he can communicate with everyone. In Haiti, he is the great elocutioner. Legba facilitates communication, speech, and understanding. He is commonly associated with dogs, like I said earlier. Papa Legba is invoked at the beginning of every ceremony Papa Legba has his origins in historic West African kingdom of Dahomey, which is located in present-day Benin. And like I said, his appearance, he's usually depicted as an old man on a crutch or with a cane, wearing a broad-brimmed straw hat and smoking a pipe or drinking dark rum. The dog is sacred to him. Legba is synchronized with St. Peter, St. Lazarus, and St. Anthony. Ooh, goodness. And he is often depicted as having the walking cane on the right side. Offerings to him typically include candy. That's interesting. Legba is a favorite Iwa of children due to his jolly grandpa-like image. He is often tasked with babysitting and distracting children. That is a typical male role in the matrilineal religion. Matrilineal religion. I'm probably butchering that all sorts of ways. While more serious rituals are being performed by the adults. Yeah, I can see that. I can see him being a grandpa-like figure. In popular culture, his study of the Delta blues, Robert Palmer disguises the appearance of Legba in blues lyrics and lore. That is so interesting. I love that so much. Palmer notes that Legba can be referred to or identified as the devil, Papa Legba, and the Black Man throughout the history of the blues. This is also made clear in Bruno Bloom's text for the CD box set Voodoo in America, where reference to Papa Legba, deity of roads and crossroads. In Robert Johnson's iconic song, however, Crossroads is explained. It is. Whenever I hear the word crossroads, I always think of that, oh goodness, Ralph Macchio movie, which happens to be one of my favorite movies, by the way, called Crossroads. I always think of that movie. And then I also think of the Supernatural TV series where they talk about the crossroads and making a deal with the devil. Yeah. The Crossroads movie did come out in 1986, if you ever want to check that out. I suggest the 1986 version. Nothing against the 2002 version, but 1986 version was the version that I grew up on. I know I'm telling my age here. Sorry, but I'm a jazz musician, dang it. I am a jazz musician, and I like the Ralph Macchio Crossroads movie. It was amazing, and the solos in that movie were awesome. The guitar battle in that movie was awesome. I'm pretty sure Steve Vai played the guitar for the guitar battle. Like, he played a lot of the music for that movie, and I love Steve Vai. So if you're listening, Steve Vai, I love your music. I love it so much. You're a big reason why I went into jazz music. Anyhow, let's go back to the topic at hand. That got me distracted because Crossroads. That's what I always think of. There is an extensive referencing to voodoo in the Sprawl trilogy, which was 1984 to 1988, and that was by William Gibson. In the second book, Count Zero, which came out in 1986, Papa Legba stands at the gateway to cyberspace. as the master of roads and pathways, with other low appearing throughout the book. Lao, I think it's Lao, appearing throughout the book. Papa Legba and Voodoo appear again in Spook Country in 2007, a book from one of Gibson's other trilogies. There are so many mentions of Papa Legba. I'm not going to read everything off of this Wikipedia page because, I can link it. But I am going to jump down here to where they talk about American Horror Story, because I really like how they incorporated him and Marie Laveau into that TV series. I very much appreciated that. Papa Legba is a recurring character in American Horror Story, appearing in the 3rd and 8th season as a gatekeeper of the afterlife. He is an acquaintance of Marie Laveau. He had granted her immortality in exchange for the offering of one innocent every year. Papa Legba's portrayal in the show has attracted some criticism, with many noting that the portrayal of Papa Legba was more similar to Baron Samedi than the mythical Papa Legba himself. In the 2024 Sony Pictures universe of Marvel movies, Spoon film Kraven the Hunter, I'm reading ahead because I'm making sure that, I should include this. But yeah, I'll go ahead and include it. The titular protagonist, Aaron Taylor Johnson, develops supernatural abilities after receiving a potion allegedly derived from the traditional spiritual scholarship of Papa Legba by the grandmother of the film's primary female protagonist, Calypso, who is played by Ariana DuBois. Goodness, I'm sorry if I am butchering this stuff. It's terrible. I can't pronounce things. Oh, and it has been a long week. A long week. Not to talk about my personal life at all, but we have been going through storms here, and I've been going through some medical situations, but it's okay. Everything will work out and it'll be just fine. We're not going to talk about that. But I am pretty darn tired. I love researching all this stuff, though, and I love reading some of it for the first time with you all. It's probably why I mispronounce things. Like I always say, I mispronounce things because I don't look at it beforehand. But I think it's more organic to read it to you all and look at it with you all during this podcast. Makes it more organic, and it kind of makes it comical when I do mispronounce things sometimes. Oh goodness, what you all must think. Probably like, that girl is an idiot. I'm educated, I promise. I am educated. Just, mom life, mom brain. It happens. It happens. Stress brain happens. It is real. Like I said, on the next podcast episode, I am going to be talking about Cleopatra. I love Egyptian culture. I love Egyptian history. That is one of my favorite things to research and study. I love researching and studying all that. So look forward to probably numerous episodes about the Egyptian culture, because there's more than just Cleopatra. I have to be honest, this video that I saw on Instagram, which is pretty popular, where Cleopatra is featured in the video, a Cleopatra-like character, had me thinking. I'm like, ooh, I could talk about Cleopatra. I have never talked about Cleopatra on Belongs to the Shadows, and I don't know why. There's a lot of supernatural history that goes on there. And, the mere fact that it was said that Cleopatra died due to an asp biting her while she was having a milk bath, or her bath, that in itself is interesting and could lead to haunted history. But not only that, the way that the Egyptian culture embalmed their deceased ones, and the way that they did the royals' tombs is interesting. King Tutankhamun comes in mind. There is a lot that I could say about the history of King Tutankhamun. We took Egyptian history, like they talked about some of the Egyptian history in one of my art classes. I believe it was art history. And I just always found it to be extremely fascinating. Extremely fascinating. If I didn't learn about it there, it was during one of my other creative history classes. I had a lot of interesting history classes. Not to mention that one of my history teachers in college was actually in the film Last of the Mohicans. That's pretty interesting. But we'll save that story for another time. I hope that you all have enjoyed this episode of Belongs to the Shadows. Tune in every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, for new episodes of Belongs to the Shadows. And like I said, I'm going to be talking about Egyptian history with Cleopatra on the next episode. Please like and subscribe. Please. I am begging you. I will resort to begging because it really helps out this channel, and it really helps me to continue to go on with these stories. And like I said, if any of you have an idea for a podcast, please comment below and I will give you credit. I'll give you a shout out. I will tell the fans where the story idea came from. Until next time, I hope you all stay creepy.